Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. With Ryzen 5 here and Ryzen 3 just around the corner, I decided to dig a little deeper into RAM configurations for Ryzen processors. In my last video we already established that Ryzen CPUs get a sizable performance gain by increasing RAM speeds. Today we'll take a look at how performance varies when it comes to single channel versus a dual channel RAM setup. I don't really feel like this will be an issue with the R7 lineup because most people spending $300 plus on the CPU will most likely have 2 RAM sticks already. I really feel it starts to become an issue when looking at budget builds based off the 4-core R5s and the upcoming R3 lineup. In more budget-friendly builds, it is quite common to only have 2 RAM slots on your motherboard. The advice usually given for these builds is to buy 1 stick of RAM over the 2 sticks. For example, buying 1 8GB stick over 2 4GB sticks. This usually makes upgrading down the road easier, but I wanted to figure out what you're giving up when you go down this route, if anything at all. I ran all of these tests at both low and high settings. The low setting tests are so you can see the full advantage of different memory configurations without my RX 470 holding the system back. I felt it necessary to add a high setting test to see if a medium range GPU like my RX 470 still sees a performance increase when going from a single to dual channel setup. I ran these tests at 2133 MHz and 3200 MHz using both a single and dual channel RAM setup. Here are the RAM timings along with my specs. I'm going to run some side-by-side in-game comparisons so that you can see the difference in different RAM configurations, and I will be back at the end with all this information compiled into something a little easier to read.
1. Attackers incoming.
The dragon's eyes.
Stop the payload.
Incoming. The dragon's eyes.
Stop the payload.
Easy.
Hey, look out for fools like me. That bitch, and she ain't never leaving me. Long live Radovich! Hail the Matrix!
Yes, and those baptisms, and all hateful before each other.
This is scandalous! You kept us off the day! We'll have order at last! Long live Radovich! Hail the Matrix! I'm a law-abiding citizen! Human ancestry!
Dead ahead, Sergeant. Eyes on target.
Hold fire! We're friendlies!
Please tell me you two have this. Whoa! Dead ahead, Sergeant.
Hold fire! We're friendlies!
Target acquired. Please tell me.
so you can tell by the gameplay that there is an increase in performance for sure, but to really see the difference you'll need some graphs. First up is Overwatch. At low settings there is quite a large performance advantage when going from single channel to a dual channel setup. More so than just increasing the RAM speed to 3200 MHz. Now let's take a look at what happens at high settings. With the RX 470 as a limiting factor, the performance evens out, but the dual channel setup still has better minimums, especially in the 0.1% low area. Next up we have GTA 5. At low settings it too performs better in a dual channel setup, gaining around 15% going from single channel to dual channel at 2133 MHz and 20+% at 3200 MHz speeds. With the GPU as a bottleneck, the performance equals out for the most part, with the single channel 2133 MHz RAM starting to trail behind the others. The Witcher 3 continues the trend with the dual channel setups running roughly 25 to 30% better than their single channel counterparts at low settings. When the GPU is put under a load, the performance equalizes, with the dual channel setups having slightly better 0.1% lows. The 2133 MHz single channel setup once again starts to trail behind the others in this game. Now to Armor 3. This game clearly prefers RAM speed over whatever configuration the RAM is in. That being said, you still gain a little performance from going to single to dual channel RAM. With the RX 470 being taxed, there was basically no performance difference between these RAM setups. Fallout 4 is up next and it has some interesting results. It seems like the game values higher speed RAMs and dual channel memory about equally. The dual channel 2133 MHz RAM and the single channel 3200 MHz RAM perform basically equal to one another. The 3200 MHz dual channel setup combines the gains and runs ahead of all other configurations. Under a GPU load, the game performed basically the same as it did on low settings, just at a lower FPS. The last game on the list is Battlefield 1. At low settings, the game gains quite a bit going from single channel to a dual channel configuration, but it also gets a fairly large boost going from 2133 to 3200 MHz. Once you turn the settings up, the performance once again smooths out, with a 2133 MHz RAM falling behind yet again. I think we can easily conclude that dual channel setups are clearly superior to single channel setups. This really doesn't come as a surprise because dual channel is just better. Like I said earlier, the point of this video is to see how much it impacts performance. With the GPU loaded up, the 2133 MHz single channel setup fell behind in 4 out of the 6 games. The dual channel configurations also had better minimums in most of these games, even with the GPU loaded down. So should you opt for 2 sticks over a single RAM stick? If you have 4 DIMM slots, then yes, of course you should. But what if you have 2 slots? This is where it starts to get a little tricky. In my opinion, unless you're going to grab another stick of RAM within the next couple of months, I feel it's better just to grab 2 sticks right off the bat. Another option you can consider is to spend a little more on your motherboard and grab a board that has 4 DIMM slots. I checked Newegg today and the cheapest AM4 motherboard was $70 US and came with only 2 DIMM slots. For $15 more you can grab a motherboard that has 4 RAM slots and also has better CPU support. I say that because the $70 B350 board supports only 65 watt CPUs. This limits your upgrade path. In the end, it's up to you to decide which route you'll take, but hopefully this video made your decision a little easier. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for checking out my video and subscribe if you like what you saw, because I have a lot more tests in the works. I'll be comparing the 2500K and the 8350 with the 1400 and 1700 Ryzen CPU soon. I will also be putting my Lock 6600 up against the R5 1400. To see what is a better overall buy around the $170 price range. If you would like to see a certain game or program tested with any of these processors, leave a comment and I'll try my hardest to get it done for you. Once again, thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.